back to Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 16 minutes past 8. Kevin Braysher here along with Craig Crowley, Ethan James and Darren Madigan. And joining us on the line, he is the Chairman of Selectors for the Queensland Maroons and ahead of the team announcement on Monday. He's here to talk to us about all things State of Origin. Des Morris, a big welcome to the show here on Sports Scene.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, thanks very much for being here with us, mate. We will ask you about the upcoming State of Origin series in a minute, but before we get to that, I'd like to just take us back. 2006, Queensland was staring down the barrel of 4 straight Origin defeats. You guys were bold in picking a whole bunch of young players to make up the nucleus of that side. Guys like Greg Inglis, Sam Thaiday, Cameron Smith. These were the guys to take it forward. At that time, did you have an inkling of just how special this group of players was going to become?
Well, we always knew they were very good players, but, it's a different arena for a lot of people, and, fortunately, they leaders and, obviously, in Melbourne, and, it's worked out very well for us since.
Looking at this series, Des, Petro Sivanasiva's retired since the series last year, and it doesn't look like you'll have Benny Hannett there with injury as well. Who are some of the props that you're looking at to fill those spots there?
Well, we're fairly fortunate in, with Matty Scott, obviously. David Shillings has always performed well for us at Origin level, and with Sam Thaiday, Nate Myers playing prop for their clubs at present. We've also got, Martin Kennedy, Josh Maguire. So, Jacob Lillyman. We've got quite a range of players to be able to move around and to pick from. So, while it's disappointing from Ben's point of view, it's certainly not dire straits for us, and we've got plenty of talent there that I'm sure, given the opportunity, will step up and do the job for us.
You mentioned a lot of good, talented players there, Des, but another guy who's played a fair bit of Origin in recent years is Dave Taylor. He's been under a fair bit of criticism this year. What are your thoughts on the way Dave's been playing this season?
No, well, obviously Dave's a rare talent, actually, but he's had his good games and his ordinary games, I suppose, but he's certainly going to, he's sort of considered more a back row at this stage, where obviously he could end up at the front eventually, or Mal might decide to use him as a front row at some stage, but, his form has been, okay, but it's going to be fairly competitive, to get into that squad, to be honest. We've got a lot of players that are hitting form, and I'm sure that if Dave was given the opportunity, he'd do a great job for us.
Absolutely. A guy who's done a lot of really good jobs for Queensland in recent years is Ash Harrison. He's under an injury cloud this weekend. Are you expecting him to be available for Origin 1?
We'll get our report before we pick the team from the doctors, and I'm sure if Ash is anywhere near right, he'll be taken into consideration because of the effort he's put in for us over the last few years. So I expect that he'll be okay. I haven't had any negative reports at this stage. I just said that the other day that he might be in a bit of doubt for this weekend. But if that was the case, with his record, I think that he should tell us, providing his medical, he comes through the medical. Okay.
Des, Craig Crowley, mate. Ben Barber and Daly Cherry Evans, mate. They're exceptional talents. How do you get players like this into your group, and can you get them a start come Origin 1?
Good question. Don't know the answer just yet. They're both playing really well. I mean, Ben's obviously had a few problems earlier, but he's come back to it now. Cherry Evans is in outstanding form. But we've got to get the balance right over the 17, 18 players, and that's going to be a big task. So, it'd be disappointed if they missed out, but unfortunately, someone's got to. But they are great talents, and I'm sure that they'll get their opportunity over the next, if not this year, certainly in the next years to come.
Yeah, just on that, Des, there's been a bit of maybe not talk in the media, but a bit written about perhaps the Queensland squad, starting to age, and whether or not the selectors are looking at bringing in, some younger players and giving them an opportunity now while the side's still sort of fairly settled. How do you feel about that? And are there any players that maybe you're looking at bringing in?
Oh, look, it's certainly a fact of life that they are. We, as a group, they are aging a bit. We've had, as you said earlier, 2 major retirements last year, and Petro and Darren, and the year before. And so, obviously you're always looking for the opportunity, but, what we've got to be mindful of, that we've got 2 games in Sydney this year. The important thing is that we win our first one. So, these guys will, we'll work out at the weekend whether who we think what's their best chance of winning that game, and that's our priority, winning this first game. And we'll look after the rest of it as the season progresses. But, I think we are starting to get a few young blokes in, like Madigan coming in last year, and, we've done it over the years with bringing younger guys in and blooding them, for want of a better word, and, that will continue. So, whether we do that in our first game or not is probably, we've got to wait and see. But, we're very conscious of the fact that we're all getting a bit older. But, I think, we've got to show a bit of faith in these guys. They've done a tremendous job for us over the last 7 years. So, they deserve some loyalty from us, and also, I'm sure the opportunity will come up with injury or whatever as we go through the season.
That's it, mate. You touched on Darren Lockyer and Petro Sivanasiva with the retirements. We've said goodbye to 2 absolute legends of Queensland Rugby League over the last 2 years. This is the first series we've gone into since 1997 with neither of those guys. How much of a void does it leave with the experience of those guys, and who are the players that will step up and take over the leadership?
Oh, look, I think, we're very fortunate having Cameron Smith as a captain. Cameron's, done it all, basically, and Cooper Cronks obviously does a very good job. Jonathan Thurston's a club captain and is a great leader as well. So, I don't think we hold any fears in that area. Matty Scott's, did quite a lot of tests under his belt. Dave Shillington's, is in that ilk as well. So, he's a club captain. So, I'm sure that we'll have plenty of experience out there. And, I don't think it'll affect us too much, to be honest. It was great that Petro could finish his career on a high at Origin level with the win that we had, and same with Darren the year before. But, the bottom line is we've got to move on as we do, and, we've got some really quality players in the team, and I'm sure that they'll be able to handle the situation.
Absolutely. Darren, I'll bring you in, mate.
Sorry. Yeah, Des, Darren Madigan here, mate. I know that we'll say it's worked for us, and people looking from the outside would say, okay, it's only 3 games per year, but how important has having the coach as a full-time coach doing nothing else been to this dynasty that's been created?
Yeah, I don't think he's a full-time coach. He'd probably argue that he's got a few other things to do, but he has just proven himself to be an outstanding coach at Origin level. He's transformed the boys. He's got them all on the one track, and there's a lot of discipline in the side, a lot of discipline in the group. So he's done a great job, and obviously it works. 7 in a row, and New South Wales have now copied that form. So. Obviously, he's a big influence. That was a big influence. And he sort of plays down his role a bit and says that he's not a coach. He's this and he's that. But he's a very astute coach, and obviously, he's the glue that holds that squad together at this stage.
Given how well it's gone, though, you wouldn't do it any other way in the future, would you?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. It's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. Origin these days, and. And I was doing a great job. So, So we'll just march along and hope and work for continued success.
That's it. You're listening to SportzScene here on 101 FM. It's 26 minutes past 8. We're here talking to Chairman of Selectors for the Queensland State of Origin team, Des Morris. He's been very good of him to join us here this morning.
Yeah, Des, just one other point. It's probably not talking about the personnel that we have this year. I've just recently come off a state program with the AFL and our local competition, and it was a very limited preparation. We thought that was our best possible avenue because we do have players coming in from Northern Territory as well as the south and north of Brisbane. Just what I'd like to know is, you go into camp for quite a significant time. How much importance is put onto this into your camp that to gel players and to get them together to make sure they know each other well enough?
Oh well, it's a major importance, of course. Years ago, that wasn't the case. Where I suppose since Origin has been in, they've been doing probably 10-day camps or 7-day camps, but it's a pretty big game, and they need to prepare properly. They need to. As a lot of people have commented this year, that quite a few of those rep players, they have a fairly high involvement in the games, and also, their commitment is first class. So, they'll get in there and they'll rest. They'll get a bit of a rest for a while from the everyday training or club training they do every week, and it just gives them a chance to relax and bond. And fortunately with our guys, most of them will have been together for quite some time, so it doesn't take them long to get back into that groove. I think it'll refresh them a little bit in the first week or so, first few days, and then they'll sit down to planning, or Mel would have done most of the planning, but implementing the plan for the game on Wednesday week.
That's it. Look, Des, the last topic I just want to discuss with you before we let you go this morning. Greg Inglis has been setting the world on fire at fullback this year. He's been unbelievable. Yeah. But Queensland's got a guy, arguably the greatest of all time at fullback, in Billy Slater. How do you manage the two of them in the one side?
Well, the same way we've done it for the last 7 years. Greg is playing out of his skin at the moment. You can see the joy he's getting out of playing even. So he's obviously wrapped in playing in the fullback role. But, Greg's a real team player, and I'm sure that he would understand that his best position for us is probably centre. And the best position for Billy is obviously fullback. So, I don't think there's much argument, to be honest. But, and I'm sure... Mel's a pretty innovative coach. He'll find a way to utilise Greg in that roving capacity that he does with South Sydney. So, I'm not too concerned about that, to be honest. They're both great players. The old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I don't think that Greg will be disadvantaged or playing in the centres. In actual fact, it might be a bit refreshing for him, a bit of a change from when he's on the club level. But, he's thoroughly enjoying his footy. Billy's playing well, and, I just think that that's the best to go at this stage.
Yeah, just on the selection process, from a personal perspective, Des, how much footage do you look at of players, and how many games, would you get? Do you get out to before an Origin series? We watch nearly every game. So it's a pretty full weekend. Obviously, we don't go to all the games. I've gone to all the local games this year, like Broncos or the Gold Coast. Yep.
And then I know Smithy's been to quite a few games down south, and Gino has done the same. Well, he hasn't been down south, I think, but he goes to every game, or we tape every game and watch it. So, it's a big commitment. We don't take the job lightly. So hopefully we get the results Wednesday week.
That's it.
fingers crossed. Well, they've got the results for the last 7 years, and just let me say, Des, as a Queensland supporter, I want to thank you and everybody involved with the Queensland team for the last 7 years. It's been unbelievable. Look, we'll let you go there. Thank you very much for talking to us this morning, and hopefully all goes well with selections. Touch wood, there's no big injuries or anything like that, and Queensland can come home with 8 straight. Des Morris, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
No worries, mate. Thank you.